Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Tom. It feels a little early. I had to turn the lights on. I've got the sun coming up at the side, and we're making some progress. So it's a little early, but we'll get through.
Absolutely will. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Brush. This is Bob Graham, and this is today's Antidote. We're early today because we both have some commitments coming up at 8 o'clock. So we, rather than taping it, recording it, we thought we would just do it live. So this is the show.
Tom, what it is? You know, the Bidens have asked us to come over and, handle some really important matters with them. They are trying to figure out whether the hallways should have plugs, 3-prong or 2-prong plugs, and we're going to help them decide. I think it's really important that we let people know that, we're not just doing this early so we can goof off. We have a really important matter to tend to. I thought that was funny. You're not giving me anything.
Took you too long to explain, like, how many prongs to whatever. It's too early in the morning to be like, oh, yeah, that was witty, Bob. Nice job. So that is not our one thing today, folks.
Watch replay later this morning. Please comments whether you thought I was funny or not.
Please do that. That'll be very helpful to the progression of this show. Anyhow, typically we do try to provide that one thing that will help you move forward throughout your day, or maybe use it next week or the following week. It just adds to what is real for you. It enhances or influences maybe your knowledge, experience, and perspective. And we know that everyone takes something different from all the information that they bring in. And so if you have something, a one thing that you take away different from what we share, please feel free to put it in the comments, whether it is live or whether you're watching this on replay. So this week, we've been talking about partners all week. And, there's a whole bunch of things that we went into trying to really define what does partners mean, why they matter, what they aren't. We had a good conversation yesterday about what partners aren't, or where are partners that might not be beneficial for you. And so today we wanted to talk about, why we need them and what their true value is to us as organizational leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs. And so we thought that this would be a really good discussion about the value truly that they bring to us as a part of our daily routine. So do you want to have some thoughts on that, Bob?
I would love to have some thoughts, Tom, but I think you need to say exactly what you said to me right before we began the program and we were talking about this topic. What was the reason you think we need them?
So we're not alone.
Oh, wow. You modified the language a little bit.
Oh, I'm. What did I say?
You said to keep us sane.
Oh, yes.
And I think really that is important to think through, because keeping us sane is, hey, Bob, you know what? As Tim just shared, the joke was a little long in the lead in, so Tim's a good friend, and I think Tim would say I'm funny, but he is also giving me, hey, you need to shorten that joke to one sentence, and it's 7 o'clock, let it go. That's where partners help us. They tell us the things that we need to hear. They also see us. One of the things I was thinking last night is the partners I have, if they see me in a situation, not just a one-on-one discussion, they will often tell me afterwards, hey, you did that really well, or, you kind of did this thing a little different. And they give you the feedback that they can observe what's going on in a way that is different than you're observing. Because when I'm doing this program with you, I'm focused solely on doing what we need to do. I'm not thinking about the implications. So if someone called me up later today and said, hey, program's really good, but there's a point where you guys do X. Oh, thank you. Let me go back and look at some episodes. I'll figure that out. And I think that's where we get that additional insight from other people that helps us figure things out more quickly, or figure out things, frankly, that we wouldn't have otherwise thought out, even contemplated.
Yeah, I think that's, to me, why they're so critical. And if you're one, I just think that there's, for some reason, and I don't know where this comes from, there's this feeling that we have to do everything alone, that if we are not doing it, it doesn't add value. It's not the same. It's not ours. And I think that, the thing about that is that it's so limiting when it's just us, right? There's only so much knowledge, experience, and perspective we can have. And so whatever we are going to provide at some point there's going to be a limit to the capacity of what that could be. Yes, we could go read a book and find some more things. You can search on the internet. You can do all of those things to gather more knowledge, but it's not a two-way street. To me, the beauty of having a partner is that there is constant feedback. I was thinking about this, that we've occasionally had some technology issues with our show where one of us disappears. And I remember a couple of weeks ago when you were gone for a while, and I was like on my own.
Get coffee.
Yeah. And
stepped out to the 7-Eleven.
Just decided to take a break. And for someone who gets on camera and talks a lot, or on Facebook Live and talks a lot, it was significantly harder at that point. Because I knew it was on me. Like, there was no turning back. I just had to keep talking till either you showed up or I wrapped the program up. And
yet we don't shorten the programs on those days. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, it would be an easy way to be like, time to go. Here's our one thing. See ya. And I think there's something about that. I think when you're working with someone, you have a different approach. It's a very different approach than when I get on. Like yesterday, I welcomed our new members to the Ring of Renegades, and I knew exactly what I was going to say, and I knew it was going to be short and quick and whatever. Because this is much more of a conversation, it's harder to just be like, oh, well, where did Bob go? Well, okay. Well, now I'm not having a conversation. Now I need to really be like, what are the couple of things I have to get across, and how do I get that message out? And so I think that it allows us to think differently and to react differently, and really to have some accountability. I think that's the other thing. If one of us didn't show up, what would you do? Would you go on with the show? Would you wait? Would you do whatever? We've said this is what we're going to do. What happened? They didn't show up. And so I think that there are those things that we can never apply to ourselves. It's really hard to provide accountability to yourself. It's really hard to provide real critical feedback that you don't want to hear. You can't. It's just difficult to do. And that's why having someone who you trust and know that they are in it to support you can be so beneficial to what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, let me give you an example that I was thinking about just now. I've been working with Tim Nebergall, one of our great correspondents here, who's always writing in quotes and keeping us honest and helping my comedic timing. And he and I have been working on a proposal he's going to do for one of my clients. We had a phone or a Zoom discussion yesterday or Facebook Messenger. Somehow we were talking to each other, and I was helping him refine the language, because I know this person that he's going to be speaking to, and I know there are certain words that if he says them, it's going to go bad. If he says the right things, and he wouldn't know that. Tim's brilliant, but he could not know that third party the way I do. And so I respect him. I liked him. If this goes through, I get to work with Tim. So it's in my best interest, for my client, for Tim, for me, to work together and help Tim know what I know. And Tim has it, he has a choice. He can accept it and go, yeah, okay, thanks, Bob. I'm going to use the words I'm going to use and get over it. And if it doesn't work, too bad. Or, wow, Bob, that's really great insight. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. Now I know exactly how to approach this. And that's one of the things I see happening a lot with referrals. Hey, Bob, this person's going to be really sensitive to this issue. Don't bring this up. Like I had someone a couple weeks ago, like, hey, Bob, you're going to have to really steer the conversation. I mean, like, talk more than, there's going to be 5 minutes of silence. I'm like, okay. So I just would talk, and then they'd be like, oh, that's really interesting. And then they'd say something that would take 30 seconds. And then there'd be a 3-second pause, and I would jump in. And at the end, the guy was like, this is one of the best discussions I've had in years. I'm thinking, I basically did our program by myself with just a guy, and he thought it was great because he felt involved because of the feedback I had gotten in how to prepare for it.
Yeah, it's just so hard sometimes to imagine doing things all by yourself. And in reality, we never really do. I mean, I think that's the key thing about it. If you just hold up in a room, said, okay, I'm not connecting to anybody else, I'm just going to do my thing, I think you would have a really hard time doing it. I don't think we always realize how many partners we have around us. And we almost take them for granted sometimes. That we're just like, well, I'm really doing it. They're just doing something else. Something that maybe that we don't see as having the same value or see them as a partner. They're all but they are all a part of the puzzle. Any staff member you have is a partner. And if they're not doing their piece, it's really hard for you to do yours. And I think that sometimes we think we're just out there on an island. And I think when we do that, we miss opportunities to enhance our knowledge, experience, and perspective, and realize that we can gain from anyone and everyone that can influence what's real for us.
Earlier this week, someone said to me, I always thought I was alone until now. They got involved with some of the things we were doing. I'll write more about this in the Renegade Way this week, our new e-newsletter that will go out later today. But think about that. I always thought I was alone until now. And what they found was with our Ring of Renegades group, they suddenly had a fraternity, a group of people that were having the same challenges. How do I do QuickBooks? Where do the 1099s come from? What is a 1099? Who qualifies for a 1099? Someone help me, because I have no clue how to make that thing happen. And my understanding is the law says it's got to be done by the end of the month. Correct. That is, those are things that I wasn't taught in school what a 1099 was. I worked at a job where they sent me one. I just thought it magically appeared.
Right.
If you're the owner of a business, suddenly you've got to start thinking about these things. And to think that we can figure them out alone is silly. I agree with you when you said that. But even more importantly to me is to believe that if you don't do it alone, it's not as good. You haven't been a success is even more troubling to me. Working with you. What's that?
That's interesting. Keep going.
No, what did I say?
It's just that perspective for you, I think, is changed, modified. Influence.
It has shifted dramatically. And I will tell you what it's been. The group that we're building, our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. I see an opportunity in there, not to socialize, not to be Bob the fun guy, but to share what's going on, to post information to people. I saw an article the other night. I'm like, oh, I bet people would love to read this. Post the article. What did it take me? 18 seconds? And people look at it and go, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, that's really great. Where would you get that otherwise? We all curate our life. We all have things that we like. If I say right now, hey, someone tell me a great podcast, I bet we get someone within 3 minutes that goes, oh, you got to watch this podcast. Hey, I need a TV show to binge this weekend. Those are comfortable things to us. We don't have a problem with that. Right. But for some reason, when we get to our business, we aren't going to put up that, hey, someone explain to me what a 1099 is, which, by the way, in the group, Tom, I can think of 5 people off the top of my head that could explain 1099s in 30 seconds and probably help someone get through the process.
Right.
And that's just one of the many examples. 1099, liability insurance. Should I lease a vehicle through my company or not? Should I be incorporated as an LLC or an S corp? Should I be billing people every month, or should I be billing them when I complete projects? Should I be on a fiscal year of July 1st to June 30th or a calendar year? Should I be tracking my mileage or not? What about health insurance? I mean, we could go on and on and on.
Right.
There are some of those questions that I just raised I don't have the answer to yet. And there's only one reason. I haven't asked someone who knows, because all around me are people who know different things. And there are plenty of things that I know that I could share with them. And that's, to me, ultimately what partners do. They share what they have to help someone else. And in return, ideally, you might get that person sharing what they know.
So why do you think that people struggle to ask for that kind of help?
I think it gets to a matter of pride and fear that if I let someone know that I don't know this, that opens the floodgates. You know, I had someone yesterday admit to me in a call that they didn't know how to scale their business. It was a hard admission. And I was like, dude, tell me anyone who does. He's like, oh, everyone does. They've all, no. And then he said, I'm looking for someone to help me figure out exactly what the steps are. I'm like, if you find that person, they're going to be very busy, because your steps are different than my steps and different than someone else's step. What you need is someone to help you figure out your steps, because there are 80 ways to climb a hill.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm part of this LinkedIn group where we post and we read each other's posts. And it fascinates me how there's people in the group who have said, they don't like sharing that they maybe don't have all the answers. And I found that really interesting, that like if someone was posting something about, uncertainty or, some of the topics that we talk about, and, they honestly admitted that they just don't like going on there being like, yeah, I don't really want to share that I don't have that I have these same concerns. And I found that interesting, because I just think that makes us real. I think if we look like we never have those problems, people are going to be like, well, how can I go talk to them, because they've got all the solutions? And I don't want to look like I don't have everything going on and everything under complete control. And I think the beauty of the space that we've created inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group is that there is space to share that. That people can post, hey, you know what? I'm trying to figure this out and I just don't have the solution. I'm not even sure I know how to ask the question. And I think that when we start to open up and do those things is when we start to really gain partners who are willing to be supportive, whatever it might need. I'm in this coaching group and we have a little group. Somebody posted the other day about pricing. I'm really struggling with my pricing. I don't really know what to do with it. I keep offering this, but everybody keeps taking that. What should I do? And, within 4 hours, there were about 5 different suggestions, thoughts. And I think that's the piece of it, is that if you share where your challenges lie, there's likely somebody who's going to be able to help you. And when you're a community like this, just like what we try to do, there are people willing to share, here's a tip. Here's a couple of things to think about. Here's something you might want to consider.
Or here's how I did it.
Or that. And they do it without it being like, well, okay, I gave you that answer. It took up 5 minutes of my time. I'm going to send you an invoice for whatever the cost is. And I think we all feel like if we give away a little bit, well, then they're never going to hire us. When I think in reality, if we give away a little bit, they're going to be like, wow, that person really understands this. Yeah, I appreciate the fact they solved this solution. I wonder if they might be able to help me with all these other things that I'm struggling with. That, yeah, I realize that's, not just a little tip on a Facebook page. It's, I need more support than that. And I think that's one of the reasons we created the Renegade Success Network, is that some people need more than just, here's my post. Hey, can you give me 5 tips? And then I can just go figure it out. or it's enough information to make a decision. It's like, I know that's going to happen again and again and again and again. And the comfort of knowing that there's somebody that they can always talk to. Like, I think that's part of it. And I could sit here at my desk and I can spend a lot of time worrying about, I don't know, what should I do? Is this the right thing to do? Is that the right thing? Should I change this? The ability to just reach out to somebody and say, this is what I'm struggling with. And for them to be able to provide feedback, to me, is worth its weight in gold.
Well, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was working with one of our Renegade Success Network members on a survey, which just so happens to be an area that I have a little bit of knowledge. And in talking through it, I could feel the sense of relief coming over this person. Once we started talking about it, she's like, I really haven't done this before. And I want to make sure, and we had a discussion about what are you trying to accomplish? How can we get there? That wasn't difficult. That was something for me. Frankly, it was fun to get into that because, and if it hadn't been a Renegade Success Network member, if it had just been someone who called me and said, hey, Bob, I got to put together a survey. Will you take a quick look at it and let me know if I'm on the right track? Of course. Now I'm going to get flooded with surveys in the next week.
Absolutely.
But therein, it's funny. I make the statement, I make the offer, and how many people will take me up on it? Probably zero, because I've been at meetings where, someone's like, oh, well, I'm having trouble with this. Oh, well, I've done that all the time. Just give me a call, and I'll be nothing, crickets. And I think it's funny because every time I help someone with something I know that I can share with someone else, I feel good about it. It gives me some of that body armor that allows me to take the other things coming at me that someone might be critical about. It's like, well, you can criticize me for my joke this morning, but hey, yesterday, I really helped a person with the survey. I mean, I nailed that. And I think that's one of the things we don't think about. When we can give and when we can receive, we start to build that confidence that, wow, I really do have some knowledge in my business. And to go back to your point, Tom, about, we're going to be alone if we don't do it. The other part of this is if I've confronted the same problem 10 times and haven't figured out my way through it, odds are I'm not going to figure it out because now I'm conditioned. I know what's going to come. This is what I've got to do, even if it's not the right answer. Because sometimes what I find is when I'm working with people, when we break it down, it's like, well, tell me about the first time this happened. Well, I did this, this, and this. How'd it work? Didn't work. Okay, what did you do the second time? Well, the same thing. The third time, the same thing. And it's like, what could we shift? What's a small thing that we could shift to try something new? And it's funny, once you say that to them and they start thinking about it, it's like, I could do this a completely different way. This is amazing. You're brilliant. I'm not brilliant. I literally didn't have the answer. All it was is, how do you shift your mind to tackle this challenge from a different angle?
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's so hard to do alone. And I just, I'm of the belief now that the more partners that I have, the more successful I can have the opportunity to be.
I couldn't agree with you more. That is, of all the things you and I have said over the last 10 some odd months, that might be the single most important message. If we could get that across to every single person in the ring of Renegades, we'd be off to the races.
Yeah, and they would as well. The beauty of it.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Bob. So we're wrapping down our time here. What's your one thing for today?
I think it's that we don't have to do it alone. We can be more successful, more efficiently, and probably more happily when we invite others to share what they know to help us figure it out. Notice I didn't say to have that person figure it out for you. That's not it. It's to get additional input so you can make your decision.
I love that. That's exactly what I was thinking. So we're going to go with that as the one tip. Great job. Thank you, everybody.
No, you didn't say actually. Actually, Bob, great job. We had someone criticizing how we handle that.
Yeah. Well, Okay, that's all right. I appreciate the feedback. It had some influence on what's real for me, and I chose not to use it.
I like it.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. We hope that you have a great rest of your Friday. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our Saturday edition, where we'll wrap up this week on partnership. And if
on
you
partners, not partnership, partners.
Sorry, partners. And if you feel like you don't have a partner, please join us in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. It is a great community where you have a chance to find some partners, to gain some knowledge, change your perspective a little bit or influence it, and have a great experience around a community of people who are there to support one another. So to join that group, if you're not a member, just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades. It is a closed Facebook group because we do want that space where people feel comfortable, that they're not just going to be pitched to all the time or sold to all the time, that it's really there to offer value and receive value. All you have to do is ask to join the private group and then just tell us why you're a renegade. That's all you need. And then you can be part of our growing community of people trying to take their next step along their pathway for success. So have a great rest of the day, a great weekend. We will see you back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time or inside of the Ring of Renegades. Thanks for this edition of today's Antidote. We will see you soon. Here's some more information. If you haven't ever heard about our Renegade Success Network, here's some further information about that group. You can always reach out to Bob or I about it, either in a post or a message, and we'll happily provide you more information.
Hey,
Have
Tom,
a great day.
Before you go there, I just want to say, people ask me all the time, whose voice is that? That is actually your computer-enhanced voice. We took a lot of work to get that. So I just want, we've had a lot of questions. So as people listen to it, listen to how Tom had to really work to get that voice. I mean, he was like, what about when I do this? What about when I do this? It's a work of art. It makes people listen, Tom.
Oh, okay. I was lost. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great day. See ya. Are you struggling to make your vision a reality? Are you stuck and don't know what to do next? Are fear and doubt holding you back? The Renegade Success Network will help you determine the next steps on your pathway. Here is some of what you will get. Create your pathway call to start you on a better path. Unlimited laser solution sessions to keep you from getting stuck. Nurture your network events to build your network with other successful leaders. Monthly Renegade challenges to prepare you for what lies ahead. The Renegade Success Vault, giving you access to videos, tools, and tips on specific topics anytime you need them. And the Renegade Success Network community, an exclusive Facebook group of like-minded renegades, all working towards achieving their goals. You have a choice. Do it yourself and fumble forward slowly and alone. Or join the Renegade Success Network and be part of a community built to help you find your own pathway. Join today at renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Act now and jumpstart your journey on your own pathway to success.